Let's have a little chat, shall we? On the early morning. It's 6:31. And I wanted to I felt the need to come through and just talk about this shit. I don't know why. Probably a channel coming through, which more than likely that's what it is. You know how that goes. I was sitting, as I always do, sitting in meditation and deep thought, and I was thinking about something. I was thinking about the emasculation of the black so-called thug. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Now, before people get their panties in a bunch, which I really don't give a fuck about, but I'm going to do this anyway because I'm a nice person. We all know that the so-called thug was a bad image for the black community and all that bullshit. We all know that, okay? Now we got that out the way. So this ain't promoting no motherfucking thuggery or shit like that. But then again, maybe it is, and I don't give a fuck who gets mad about it because I'm going to do what I want to do and say what the fuck I want to say. That's just that. I'm not a part of no motherfucking elite or part of no motherfucking boule bullshit and no uppity bullshit. I come from real motherfucking life. I was raised around motherfucking thugs and hardcore motherfucking men. So that is why I can sit on, panels with alpha heterosexual black men, like Panic or anybody else in, the conscious community. I can do that because I was raised around basically, alpha men like that. But I want to talk about the emasculation of the black thug image. And when I say thug, I'm not speaking in terms of a black guy, and I'm not speaking in a derogatory way. Let me say it that way. This is not coming from a derogatory place, okay? Because we all know that, those of us who are conscious, we know that thugs and street dudes, they have a level of consciousness that we don't see in the niggas in suit and ties. They have a level of consciousness that we don't see in the so-called good guys. You feel what I'm saying? That is why a lot of women are attracted to the thug type, or they were at one time, because it was the consciousness. It was probably the dick game too, because I didn't dated some thugs and whatever the case may be, or some street dudes or whatever you want to call them. And when I say street dudes, I'm talking about dudes who have knowledge of how things operate in the motherfucking street life. Okay? They have a level of consciousness that you don't see in other motherfucking niggas. That's what I'm saying. Okay? So there has to be some form of a little bit of respect, if not more, for them. You feel what I'm saying? But their image had started being very, very emasculated for various reasons. I want to say around the 2000s, or maybe into the maybe around the 2000s. The late 2000s, you started seeing the thug image being emasculated more and more. But let's go back. Let's go back far. Let's go back. We have to go back to the movie New Jack City, and I talked about New Jack City here on my channel. We have to go back to the movie New Jack City with Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes was the epitome of masculinity for heterosexual black men in the movie industry back in the day. He was one of the sex symbols. He was He was the, like I said, he was the epitome of masculinity, of black male masculinity, black male heterosexual masculinity. And I know what people may be thinking, why would a gay guy be talking about something like this? Well, let me tell you why. Because that is what I do. I am the occult view, number one. Number two, I'm a gatekeeper. And gatekeepers, we expose and we tell the fucking truth. Even if it's not in our motherfucking favor. You feel what I'm saying? Even if it's not something that may be beneficial to us. Because as a gatekeeper, we have to tell the truth as we see it. As we see it. Not your truth, but my truth. You feel what I'm saying? And the more enlightened you become, the more your consciousness expands, the more you separate yourself from emotion. And the more you start to connect with your consciousness and your subconscious, which knows no emotion. There is no emotion. There is no room for emotion in this. So that's why I'm talking about it. Because I'm a gatekeeper. And that is what gatekeepers, this is what we do. We expose, we let people in, and we see everything that goes on from the rooter to the tutor. We don't just let people in. We also expose, we counsel people. You know? So if you need any type of counsel, if you're a man, you can hit me up. In New Jack City, the character of Nino Brown, for those people who are old enough to remember that movie, and even for you younger guys who know about the movie New Jack City, the character of Nino Brown was a powerful motherfucking force. And I wouldn't even classify him as a fucking thug. He was a underworld drug lord, I guess you can say. And Nino Brown did not play. Now, let me be clear. I know that that was a horrible representation for the black community and all that shit. I know that. I get that. But I'm looking at it from an occult aspect because, again, that is what I do. I am the occult view. Nino Brown, no matter how atrocious and horrible he was, because he was a horrible motherfucker. No matter how horrible he was, you gotta have a little bit of respect for him because he was a motherfucking genius in a way. He was like a mad genius. You know, he was. He orchestrated, he ran a mega motherfucking drug fucking business. And he was time enough for those motherfucking white boys who tried to step to him and bully and intimidate him. You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this? See, that was the type of motherfucking street nigga that black men used to be back in the day. But they had to shut that motherfucking energy down because, like I said, take away the debauchery and all of the shit that comes along with that. Take all of that away. There's a level of consciousness that comes out of that. And that is why a lot of guys, a lot of black men who are in jail, a lot of our brothers in jail, a lot of them are very conscious. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them are very, consciously in tune and enlightened. You know, because there's a certain amount of consciousness that comes out of that. So that energy had to be shut down for various reasons. So how do they shut it down? They shut it down by putting Wesley Snipes in a dress. See, it's a totally different thing when you put a man in a dress who is heterosexual, who is alpha, ultra masculine, alpha, ultra male. You feel what I'm saying? That's a totally different thing. They ritualized him in energies that were not for him. And truth be told, that is one of the reasons why Wesley Snipes started to go a little down the slopes to destitution. You know, see, a lot of people, we only look at the news and we see what happens to them from a one-faceted perspective. Let me say it like that. But behind the scenes, these people are going through a lot of turmoil. Wesley Snipes went through a lot of turmoil after Tu Wong Fu because that was a ritual to shut down that Nino Brown energy because they could not have a group of motherfucking niggas with that type of fierce, powerful, determined energy. That energy was very powerful. And I'm not talking about the selling of the drugs and the destruction of the black community, but I'm talking about the determination, the power, and the fierceness behind Nino Brown. He was determined and he was feared. Excuse me, and I don't care what nobody say, when it comes within fear, in that arena, in that retrospect, there comes a lot of motherfucking power. You feel what I'm saying? There comes a lot of power when you have that type of fear. And there were a lot of people that feared him. There were a lot of white people that feared him too. Now, although he was a horrible tyrant and he held the black community hostage, put that to the side for a minute. Imagine if that energy was being used in another way to protect black people from those people who wish to harm black people. Imagine if that energy was used as a protective force, or a force to, I guess you can say, to enact, some type of war against those who wished us harm. So that level of energy was a very powerful form of consciousness, putting all of the negativity aside. So they had to shut that down. And they shut it down by putting him in a dress in Tu Wong Fu. They shut it down by putting him in a dress in Tu Wong Fu. And then not long after that, his career really went downhill. And then they brought him on to the movie Waiting to Exhale as an unavailable black man who was kind of involved with Angela Bassett, whose husband left her for a white woman. And then she found out that she could not have a relationship with Wesley Snipes, this tall, dark, handsome man, because that's what he was to a lot of women back in the day. She found out she could not have a relationship with him because he too was married to a white woman, or he was involved with a white woman. So we're looking at so many different variations of mind control and emasculation of black men in so many different ways. And we're also looking at the destruction of the relationships between black men and black women as well. So once they removed that thug energy from him, once they, removed that from him, then other forms of mind control started being implemented. You started seeing more black thugs, or we started hearing about more black so-called thugs, street niggas, being on the motherfucking DL. Go back to the movie, what was it? Beauty Shop. There was a guy that worked in the beauty salon, a pretty boy. I don't know the actor's name. He was a pretty boy. And he was dancing in the beauty salon, shaking his hips and, singing some song talking about, I'll take your man. See, we have to look at everything in totality for those of us who've been alive long enough that has happened, that has led up to this emasculation of the thug black man. Because the street dude, the thug dude, like I said, they carry a certain consciousness with them. They have a certain amount of consciousness that is very powerful. And the powers that be, that run this institution, that run this corporation that we live in, they don't want them executing that type of consciousness. They don't want them having that level of consciousness. So what do they have to do? Well, one of the first things that they do, and I talked about this in my DL video, one of the first things that they do is they convince black women that they shouldn't listen to them. They convince black women that they should look their nose down at them because they may not have the things that, your average, Joe Blow may have. And let me say this right now. This ain't about no motherfucking black women who should date no fucking thugs. So that ain't got nothing to do with it. I don't operate in that motherfucking shit no more, so that ain't got nothing to do with it. So don't come at me with that fucking bullshit or you will get snatched. Let me say that. Verbally. They convinced black women that these types of men were on the DL. That scene in the movie Beauty Shop was a subliminal attack right there, where this guy who looked like a street dude that had cornrows in his hair, he's dancing all around and prancing all around, and for all intent and purposes, he was supposed to be heterosexual. So what they were actually doing as well, they were birthing a new type of heterosexual man that did not have the same masculine attributes that we were used to seeing. Now, me personally, I don't like no bitch ass motherfucking niggas. Okay? It's only room for one motherfucking queen, honey. Just one. The energy for if I'm dealing with the man now, if I'm with a man and we're having a moment and he wants to bring out his feminine side, I'm not talking about dressing up in women's clothing like I do at times. But I'm talking about if we're having a moment and he wants to bring out his feminine side because, or moan like a woman or something like that, that's different. Because if I'm making him feel good, then I expect him to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't diminish your manhood. But I don't want no bitch ass motherfuckers. I don't want no bitch ass niggas. And what I consider a bitch ass nigga is somebody that is pretending to be masculine, but in actuality, you are more effeminate than you are masculine, but you're pretending and you're playing all these different fucking roles. See, when I say roles, I mean facades, fakery, bullshit. I don't like that. I don't like no bitch ass. I like men. I like men. And if you're not a man, I can't fuck with you. I don't care if you're gay, straight, or bisexual. I don't care if you're bisexual or gay, not straight. I'm not into straight men. I'm into bisexual men. So, no, that type of energy right there, I think that is what started causing an energy of confusion. And then it started manifesting in how people looked at thugs. So then let's get a little bit further. Let's go a little bit further. So then you started seeing all these porno movies pop up with thugs fucking white boys. Now we all know back in the day, real motherfucking OGs, not only did they not, most of them did not fuck around. I'm gonna say most, I ain't gonna say all. Some of them did dibble and dabble with other men and trannies and drag queens and people like me. Some of them did. And they lived straight lifestyles. Some of them did. But back in the day, real motherfucking OGs, original gangsters or whatever you want, real ones, they didn't mess around with no men, let alone no fucking white boys. They didn't do that. But then you started seeing more and more porn movies pop up where they were promoting black so-called thugs having sex with effeminate gay white men. And see, right there, that's a totally different type of energy right there that they were manifesting on a whole nother fucking level. And right there, that manifestation and putting out that fucking image, that changed the game totally. Then now in the 21st month, in this part of the 21st century, the 2010s, 2016s, whatever you want to call it, whatever. Now when you look at a person who claims to be a street thug, them motherfucking niggas are so effeminate. They got all these fucking tattoos and it's not the same energy. Because what happened was, the point that I'm making is that they created an entirely different species of energy. And that was their goal, in my opinion, all along. Because thugs back in the day, they didn't have all the motherfucking tattoos and shit, and nothing against nobody with tattoos. Nothing. Because it's about the consciousness. Not only that, the consciousness is no longer there as well. These little motherfucking street dudes now, they don't have no consciousness like thugs back in the day. Especially these motherfuckers here in the DC, Baltimore, Maryland area. These motherfuckers they definitely don't have no motherfucking consciousness. Shit, the only conscious dude that I knew who was conscious, it was one person. I'm not gonna say his name, but it was only one. People who know me, they know what I'm talking about. But not only did their behavior change, the consciousness is no longer there either. And that is all part of emasculation as well. See, people think, let me just say this. People think that emasculation is about turning people gay. No, it's not. No, it's not. Emasculation, that may be a small part of it. But we all know that the United States does not like gay people like that, at least not publicly. Emasculation is about removing those elements and qualities about yourself as a male that will enable you to combat your enemies. That is what emasculation is all about, because there are a lot of men who are emasculated, who are heterosexual. So when I hear people say that, oh, emasculation is about turning people gay, no, it's not. No, it's not. If you're gay, you're gay. Emasculation has nothing to do with turning people gay per se. Not saying that that's not a small part of it, but the bigger part of emasculation, the bigger part of it that people miss because people are so focused on homosexuality, because that is a distraction as well. The bigger part of emasculation is preventing you as a man, no matter what your sexual orientation is, preventing you and from being able to defend yourself, preventing you from tapping into your own fucking consciousness to defend yourself and to protect yourself. That all comes along the lines of emasculation. And on the flip side, when it comes to females or black women, we never really talk about the defeminization of black women, which is the opposite for emasculation of the male. See, all of this is about you being disempowered from your motherfucking magic and you being rendered helpless. That is what emasculation is really about. It's not always about sexual orientation, beloveds. Let me say that. It's not always about sexual orientation and you being turned gay. See, that's the mind control and the distraction. Emasculation, gay agenda, all of those things have their different compartments. Wesley Snipes is not gay, but they emasculated him to the point where he couldn't take care of himself, wasn't paying his taxes. Now he's not getting a lot of roles in movies. And the consciousness that was once inside of him, now that has been shut down. Then they came back along and did a double whammy in Candyman. They shut down that Osirian energy in black men and black women, which caused a ripple effect. It caused a defeminization in the black woman and a emasculation in the black man. And when I say defeminization, I'm not saying anything to be derogatory about black women, of course. But what I'm saying is you not being able to tap into your more feminine qualities, which is your fucking magic, which is the hidden part of you, the dark magic. And when they pit black men against black women, that causes a destabilization. Then they started pitting gay black men against heterosexual black men, which caused a further destabilization. Because, see, I think that every heterosexual black man should have a gay male as his friend. Not me necessarily, but I think that every heterosexual black man should have a gay black male as his friend, because I'm not talking about bossing you around or being around you 24 hours a day, or, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being a real friend and a counsel to you. Because let's just say, for example, there may be things that I can see that maybe you can't see because of your masculinity. Well, maybe not your masculinity, but you know what I'm saying. There may be things that I may be able to, decode and see for you that you may not be able to see because you're on another level. Not a lower level, but maybe you're on a higher level. And maybe because I might be down a little bit lower than you, not good or bad or better or worse, nothing like that. No levels as nothing about better or worse, but maybe I'm on another level as a gatekeeper and I can see the shit that's going on from the gate that you might be missing because you're up here doing other work. You're up here doing work that may be up on a higher level. And sometimes if you're up too high and you can't see what's going on at the root, you need a gatekeeper who works in that underworld department, to be able to tell you, hey, listen, you need to be careful of X, Y, and Z. So I think that a lot of heterosexual black men should have a gay male friend, not for no buffoonery and not for no motherfucking, nothing, but just as a counsel sometimes. Just as a counsel. Because we can see things sometimes that you may not be able to see. And I say the same thing to black women. But black women and gay black men, we've always had a connection and we've always gotten along. But here lately, you see a lot of bullshit on YouTube that's being promoted by gay black men that are not really gatekeepers, but they're here to create confusion and chaos and use the energy of black women, okay? To use and abuse the energy of black women. But those type of people are not the type you should be friends with in a sense. You know what I mean? But emasculation, let me get back on topic. Emasculation of the thug has been going on for quite some time, because that thug energy, even though people have a different way of looking at it, and even though people may not like it on a human level, that thug energy offered a protection energy as well. Because back in the day, black thugs, they were some fierce ass motherfuckers. They would kick your motherfucking door in, they would do whatever. They were feared. And sometimes with fear, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. With fear comes power sometimes. And with fear comes respect. People can take it how they want. But there was a protective energy that was there. Like I said, I was raised around motherfucking thugs and street niggas. My uncle was a big time drug dealer here in DC a long time ago. He was a big time drug dealer. He didn't always make the right fucking decisions. But I tell you one motherfucking thing, ain't nobody ever fuck with me. See, that's one of the reasons I was never molested and ain't no shit ever happened to me, because them motherfuckers knew. And there was some niggas in the neighborhood that saw my little cute chubby butt and wanted to do some things with me. And these were grown fucking men, but they knew they better not dare look at me the wrong motherfucking way. Now they could buy me a KFC chicken. They could do nice things for me. They can give me money. They can do they did all that. But they knew the moment that they looked at me the wrong way or did something the wrong way, they knew if they touched me the wrong way, not only would I yell it from every motherfucking mountaintop, they knew if I went to my uncle, they knew he would have eviscerated them. I seen my motherfucking uncle in action. And I seen the things he did and how he got down. My uncle was a fierce motherfucking god. Truth be told, my uncle, truth be told, Panic kind of reminds me of my uncle that died a long time ago. Kind of reminds me of him. I'm just saying that for the record. The energy is very similar. So that energy was very protective. It was very protective. And my uncle was very conscious. There are different levels of consciousness. He wasn't conscious, on maybe not on the level that I'm on. There are different levels to this. But he was very conscious. So they want to shut down the consciousness, which is what they did. And they wanted to shut down that protective energy, which is what they did. And they replaced it with this motherfucking backwards motherfucking energy that is not really thug energy. Thug energy is fierce, powerful, protective, and it has consciousness to it. That is how a lot of our most famous rappers, Tupac, you know what I'm saying? Tupac, a lot of the well-known rappers, B.O.B., very powerful, very wise brother. They come from that energy. And when I say thug, I don't mean in a degrading way, but they come from that energy, that consciousness energy. Some of our most well-known black rappers are very, very conscious from back in the day. Now, B.O.B., he's young, he's 31. But when you talk to him, it's like talking to a very wise, ancient, master motherfucking teacher. And he's much younger than me. He's 31. I'm 41 almost. He's much younger than me. And very motherfucking wise. Very motherfucking wise. I have to say that. And I'm just using him as an example because he's one of the rappers that when I think about, wisdom and consciousness, he's one of the rappers that I think about because rappers tell a story. That's what rapping was all about, telling a story. These are their hieroglyphs. Their stories, their lyrics are their hieroglyphs, telling their story. Just like the hieroglyphs on the motherfucking pyramids are telling a story or giving instructions. Tupac. That's what made these great, conscious dudes conscious. That's what made them conscious. Because of how they told their stories and the consciousness behind it and the wisdom and the enlightenment that came from that. Now, I wasn't really a big fan of Tupac's rapping per se, but I did love his acting, and what I was really amazed by was his consciousness. To me, that was the most amazing thing about him, his consciousness. And I hope I'm not saying anything that seems a little whatever. But if I am, I still don't care because I'm going to say it. Who cares? But really, that's all I really wanted to talk about. The emasculation of the black thug, or that black thug energy, rather. And when I say thug, I'm not talking in terms of a criminal or somebody, although that, that has been synonymous with the word thug, But I'm not thinking of it in terms of that. I'm thinking of it in terms of the consciousness that comes out of somebody who lives that life, who has had that street life, who knows what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? Who has that type of energy, that protective energy, that fierce energy, that powerful energy. That is what I'm talking about when I'm talking in terms of black heterosexual so-called thugs, not the racist terminology that people have used it as or how people have weaponized it. Let me say it that way. How people have weaponized it to attack the consciousness of black heterosexual men. But that energy has been emasculated. And it was emasculated to shut down that consciousness. And that's all I really had to say. Yeah, that's all I had to say. Thank you.